The Galactic Memory Archive was the biggest storage center in the known galaxy. It was larger than cities, larger than planets, and some people even said it was larger than small moons. Millions of species stored their history there. Every war, every king, every discovery, and every secret was kept inside its endless systems. People called it the brain of the galaxy. Nothing was ever lost there. Nothing. At least, that was what everyone believed. Cale worked there. He was only 24 years old and had a simple job. He worked the night shift as an archive maintenance worker. His job was not exciting. He fixed damaged files, checked old records, and repaired broken data systems. Most nights felt the same. Very quiet. Very boring. Cale sat in front of a large blue screen, while hundreds of floating displays moved around him. Long rows of machines stretched endlessly across the room. Soft lights glowed from the walls. Outside the giant windows, stars moved slowly through space. Cale rubbed his eyes and looked at the time. 3 more hours. He sighed. Another exciting night, he whispered sarcastically. His small service drone floated beside him. Worker Cale, the machine said with its calm, robotic voice. You have 32 damaged files waiting. Cale looked up slowly. 32, he said. Why does the universe hate me? The drone said nothing. Cale laughed quietly. He started working. Hours passed. 1 damaged file. Then another. Then another. Most were old trade records or unimportant reports. Nothing interesting. Nothing strange. Until suddenly, 1 file appeared on his screen. Cale frowned. That was unusual. Very unusual. The file looked broken, but not in a normal way. Usually damaged files showed missing information or corrupted symbols. This file was different. It was empty. Completely empty. Cale sat closer. No title. No history. No creator. No date. Nothing. Only a strange file number remained. X992 ER01. Cale looked confused. That's strange. His drone moved beside him. Problem detected? It asked. Cale pointed at the screen. Look at this. The drone scanned it. Error detected. Yeah, Cale said. I can see that. No information exists. Cale frowned. No information exists? The drone repeated itself. No information exists. Cale stared at the screen. That should be impossible. Every file inside the archive had some information. Even deleted files left traces. Even destroyed records left small pieces behind. But this looked like someone had erased something perfectly, as if the file itself had never existed. Cale became curious. He opened deeper scan tools. Lines of code appeared across the screen. Thousands of symbols moved rapidly. Cale watched carefully. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then suddenly, 1 word flashed across the screen. Earth. Cale froze. Earth. He looked at the word. He had never heard it before. It sounded strange. Not like the names of known worlds. Earth. For some reason the word felt important. Very important. Then suddenly, warning. 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 Red lights exploded across the room. Alarm screamed. Cale jumped from his chair. What? Every screen around him turned red. The floating displays began shutting down. His system started deleting files by itself. Cale stared in shock. What is happening? The drone moved wildly. Emergency protocol activated. Reason? Cale shouted. Unknown. Cale looked back at his screen. The word was disappearing. Letters vanished one by one. E. A. R. T. H. No. Cale quickly pressed commands. His hands moved across the controls. He disconnected his screen from the main system. The alarms became louder. Sweat formed on his forehead. Come on, just work. A small storage device sat beside him. Without thinking, Cale grabbed it and copied the remaining data. Progress bar, 12%. The room lights started flashing faster. 37%. Footsteps echoed in distant hallways. Cale looked up. People were running. Security teams. Why would security come for damaged files? 64%. His heartbeat became faster. Something was wrong. Very wrong. 89%. The footsteps grew closer. Then, 100% complete. Cale quickly pulled out the device. Seconds later, his main screen went black. Everything disappeared. Silence. Complete silence. The alarm stopped. The room became normal again, as if nothing had happened. Cale stared at the dark screen. His breathing was heavy. Then the door behind him opened. 3 security officers walked inside. Black uniforms. Cold faces. No expressions. One stepped forward. Worker Cale. Cale slowly turned. Yes. We detected unauthorized archive activity. Cale tried to act calm. I was repairing damage files. The officers stared at him. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Cale felt uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Then the officer asked quietly, "What did you see?" Cale blinked. "What? What did you see?" Cale's heart suddenly beat faster. Not, "What did you do?" Not, "What happened?" Only, "What did you see?" Cale looked at their faces. Something felt strange. The officers did not look angry. They looked afraid. Afraid of one word. Afraid of something called Earth. Cale forced a small smile. "Nothing," he said. The officers stared at him. Long silence. Very long silence. Then they walked away. But before leaving, one officer stopped at the door. He looked back. For a moment his face changed. Fear. Real fear. Then he said quietly, "Some things are forgotten for a reason." The door closed. Cale stood completely still. Slowly, he reached into his pocket and touched the hidden storage device. Inside it sat the impossible file. Inside it sat one forbidden word, Earth. And somewhere deep inside his mind, one question appeared. What was Earth, and why was the galaxy afraid of it? Part 1. The discovery that should not exist. 5 to 7 minute hook. 900 words Kaleko or interesting Huna Chia or third-person style Malekniha or simple basic English Ka use Karnaha. Cale did not go back to work after that. As he walked through the giant halls of the Galactic Memory Archive, his mind felt heavy. The strange events kept repeating inside his head. The empty file, the alarms, the officers, and that one word, Earth. Something about it felt wrong. No, not wrong. Hidden. Like hearing half a story and knowing the other half was missing. Thousands of workers walked through the halls around him, moving between floating screens and transport stations. Everyone looked normal, but Cale suddenly felt different. He felt like he knew something he was never supposed to know. He slowly placed his hand inside his pocket. The small storage device was still there, still hidden, still carrying forbidden information. He looked around carefully. No one seemed to be watching him. Still, he felt nervous, very nervous. Outside the archive, giant transport ships moved between stations while traffic lights floated in space. Small transport pods crossed between buildings. Cale entered one and sat quietly near the back. Normally, he spent his trip watching stars outside the windows. Tonight, he could not stop thinking. Earth, Earth, Earth. The word repeated in his mind. Finally, after nearly 20 minutes, Cale reached his apartment tower. The building stood high above the city, surrounded by flying traffic and glowing lights. Far below, millions of people moved through streets. Everything looked normal, but Cale no longer felt normal. The moment he entered his apartment, he locked the door. Then he locked it again, then checked it a third time. He laughed nervously. Okay, now I'm acting strange. His service drone floated toward him. Welcome home, Worker Cale. Cale sat down. Open private system mode. Private mode activated. The apartment windows immediately darkened. The lights became dim. No outside signals. No monitoring. No connection to public systems. Cale took a deep breath. Slowly, he removed the storage device. For a moment, he simply stared at it. Such a small thing. Yet security officers had appeared within seconds. Why? He inserted it into his personal console. The screen lit up. Unknown file detected. Open file? Cale stared. His finger hesitated. Part of him wanted to stop. Delete it. Forget everything. But curiosity was stronger. He pressed. Yes. The screen flickered. Lines of damaged data appeared. Most files were broken. Large sections were missing. Images were destroyed. Text had strange symbols. Cale frowned. Come on. He activated repair software. Small loading bars appeared. Minutes passed. Then suddenly, an image appeared. Cale's eyes widened. A planet. Blue oceans. White clouds. Green land. He had never seen a world like it before. Most planets in the galaxy were cities, deserts, or artificial colonies. But this world looked alive. Beautiful. Peaceful. At the bottom of the image were small words. Planet designation. Earth. Cale leaned closer. No way. Another file opened. Then another. Short videos began playing. He saw humans. Children running through green fields. Huge cities reaching into clouds. People laughing. People smiling. People looking up at stars. Cale watched silently. The people looked normal. Nothing dangerous. Nothing terrifying. So why erase them? Suddenly, another recording started automatically. The image showed a man speaking into a camera. The recording quality was poor. Static moved across the screen. The man wore strange clothing. Behind him stood a blue and white flag. He looked serious. If this message survives, the man said. Static interrupted. Then history has been changed. Cale sat forward. Changed? The man's face flickered. They will erase us. More static. They fear what humanity became. The video suddenly stopped. Cale stared. What humanity became? He quickly searched through more files. Then he found something even stranger. A galactic education file. Cale opened it. The information said, Human origin planet. Nova Prime. Cale blinked. Nova Prime? That was impossible. The Earth file clearly showed humans coming from Earth. He opened another public history file. Again, Human origin planet. Nova Prime. Cale searched another. Same result. And another. Same result. Cale slowly leaned back in his chair. Cold fear moved through his body. Every record said Nova Prime. Every history file said Nova Prime. Every database said Nova Prime. But the hidden files said Earth. Only one could be true. Only one. His mouth slowly opened. No. He stood up. No way. Someone had changed everything. Not one file. Not 100 files. Everything. Entire history records. Entire educational systems. Entire civilizations. Someone had rewritten the past. Cale's breathing became heavy. Who could do something like that? Who had enough power to change the history of the whole galaxy? Suddenly, the apartment lights went dark. Everything shut off. Cale froze. Silence. Complete silence. Then slowly, red emergency lights turned on. The room glowed dark red. His drone shook beside him. Warning. Cale looked up. Warning. Its voice sounded different. Broken. Scared. Unknown signal detected. Cale felt cold. Unknown signal? Then the drone spoke again. 3 military ships detected outside. Cale slowly turned toward the window. His eyes widened. Outside, black ships floated silently in the sky. No lights. No symbols. No markings. Just dark metal. Watching. Waiting. Then Cale's console suddenly activated by itself. Words appeared on the screen. You open the file. Cale stared. Another line appeared. Do not run. Then another. We are already inside. Cale felt his heart stop. Someone knew. Someone had found him. And downstairs, heavy footsteps entered the building. Cale stood frozen in the middle of his apartment. Outside the giant window, the black ships floated silently in the sky like dark predators waiting for the perfect moment to attack. Downstairs, heavy footsteps echoed through the building. Slow, cold, getting closer. Cale stared at the screen. You open the file. Do not run. We are already inside. His hands became cold. What does that even mean? He whispered. His service drone suddenly turned toward him. Its eyes flashed red for a second, then blue again, then red. Warning, it said. Cale stepped backward. What now? The drone shook slightly. Security forces entering building. Cale rushed toward the apartment door display. The building cameras automatically appeared. His face immediately turned pale. Black armored soldiers were entering the lower levels. Not normal police. Not normal security. Military. Their helmets covered their faces completely. No symbols. No names. Nothing. One thing looked strange. Every soldier wore a silver mark on the shoulder armor. A circle with a line crossing through it. Kale had never seen that symbol before. More soldiers entered. Then more. Too many. Way too many. His heartbeat grew faster. They're here for me. The drone looked toward him. Escape recommended. Kale blinked. Escape? Through where? The drone pointed toward the back wall. Maintenance tunnels. Kale stared. There are tunnels here? Building map confirms. Kale did not ask questions. He grabbed a storage device and quickly put it into his jacket pocket. Then he opened a small cabinet and grabbed emergency supplies. Food packets, a flashlight, power cells, basic tools. His hands moved fast, very fast. Outside his apartment door, thud. Kale froze. Someone had entered his floor. Another sound came. Thud. Heavy footsteps. Closer now. His breathing became quiet. Then, thud. Right outside his door. Kale slowly looked at it. No movement. Nothing. Silence. Complete silence. Then a voice came from outside. Cold. Calm. Worker Kale. Kale's eyes widened. We know you are inside. The voice continued. You have information belonging to Galactic Security. Kale slowly backed away. His heart pounded hard. The voice continued speaking. You are not under arrest. Kale frowned. Not under arrest? Please open the door. Silence. Then, if you refuse, emergency force will be used. Kale looked toward the drone. The drone looked back. For 2 seconds, neither moved. Then suddenly, boom! The apartment door shook violently. Kale jumped. Oh no! Boom! Cracks spread across the metal. The drone immediately moved toward the back wall. Escape route. The wall suddenly opened. A dark tunnel appeared. Kale stared. No way. Boom! The door bent inward. Kale immediately ran into the tunnel. The wall closed behind him. Darkness surrounded everything. Only small emergency lights glowed along the narrow passage. Kale ran. Behind him came distant shouting. They moved! Find him. They cannot leave with the data. The words echoed through the tunnel. Kale kept running. Left, right, down metal stairs, through narrow paths. The building tunnels felt endless. His breathing became heavier. Sweat covered his forehead. Finally, he saw light ahead. An exit. Kale rushed forward. The tunnel door opened. Cold air hit his face. He stepped outside and looked around. He was behind the apartment towers near cargo stations. Huge transport ships stood nearby. Workers moved cargo containers. Nobody noticed him. Kale looked back. No soldiers. Not yet. He quickly pulled up a city map on his device. He needed somewhere to hide. But where? His apartment was gone. His job was gone. His life was gone. Everything had changed because of one word. Earth. Suddenly his pocket device vibrated. Kale frowned. He slowly pulled it out. Unknown signal. No source. No identity. He hesitated, then opened it. Static filled the screen. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then an old voice spoke. If you are hearing this... Kale stopped walking. Then they found the archive files. The voice sounded damaged and weak. Listen carefully. Kale looked around. People continued moving normally. Nobody noticed him. You must not trust official systems. Static interrupted. They control history. Kale felt cold. If you want answers... More static. Then a location suddenly appeared. A distant star system. Unknown sector. Coordinates flashed across the screen. Find the rememberers. Kale whispered. The rememberers? They still know the truth. The message suddenly ended. Screen dark. Signal lost. Kale stared silently. Rememberers? Who were they? And how had someone sent him that message? Suddenly the city alarms activated. Huge screens around the streets came alive. Kale slowly looked up. His face lost color. His own face appeared on every screen. Galactic alert. Wanted for treason. People stopped walking. Everyone stared upward. Kale stared in complete shock. Below his picture appeared words. Danger level. High. Possession of forbidden information. Report immediately. People around him started whispering. That's him. I saw him. What did he do? Kale slowly stepped backward. No, no, no. Then one child pointed at him. Mom, that's him. Kale looked around. Too many people were staring now. Way too many. Then somewhere behind him. There! Kale turned. Black armored soldiers had arrived. And this time, they were running. Kale ran. He pushed through the crowd as people shouted behind him. The giant screen still showed his face above the city. Wanted for treason. Possession of forbidden information. His heartbeat pounded inside his chest. Behind him, black armored soldiers forced their way through people. Move! Clear the area. Stop him. Kale did not look back again. He just ran. Flying vehicles crossed overhead, while warning alarms echoed through the streets. People moved away in fear. Kale turned into a narrow side path between buildings. Then another. Then another. His breathing became heavy. His legs started hurting. But he could not stop. Not now. Suddenly, a loud energy blast struck the wall beside him. Boom! Pieces of metal exploded across the street. Kale ducked. What? Another blast hit nearby. The soldiers were shooting. Not warning shots. Real shots. Kale's eyes widened. They said I wasn't under arrest. Another blast hit the ground. Blue light exploded behind him. Kale ran faster. Ahead, cargo stations filled the area. Giant transport ships stood on landing platforms, while workers loaded containers. Kale quickly moved behind stacks of cargo boxes. He looked around desperately. Think. He needed a ship. He needed to leave this world immediately. Then he saw it. A small transport ship sat alone at the end of the station. Old paint, small engines, nothing special. Perfect. Kale ran toward it. As he reached the ship door, he saw an old pilot standing nearby checking supplies. The pilot looked surprised. Hey! Kale immediately raised his hands. I need help. The old man narrowed his eyes. You look familiar. Kale froze. Not good. Very not good. The pilot suddenly looked toward the giant screens nearby. Kale's face still appeared there. Slowly, the old man looked back at Kale. Oh! Silence. Kale felt nervous. Very nervous. Then the old pilot looked around carefully. Get inside. Kale blinked. What? I said get inside. Kale stared at him. Why are you helping me? The old pilot continued loading supplies. I didn't say I was helping you. Kale quickly entered the ship. Seconds later, the pilot joined him. The ship doors closed. Outside, soldiers reached the cargo station. Search every ship. Kale looked through the window, nervously. They're here. The old pilot sat calmly. Then he pressed several controls. The engines activated. The ship slowly lifted from the ground. Outside, soldiers noticed movement. Stop that transport. Energy cannons turned toward them. Kale's eyes widened. Oh no! The old pilot smiled. Then suddenly, the ship dropped downward. Kale nearly screamed. What are you doing? The ship flew between buildings at incredible speed. Warning alarms filled the cabin. Kale grabbed his seat. Outside, black military ships followed behind them. Energy blasts flashed across the sky. Boom! Boom! Buildings shook as explosions lit the city. Kale looked terrified. The old pilot looked completely relaxed. You fly like this every day? No. What? Only on exciting days. Kale stared at him. This is exciting to you? The old man laughed. Behind them, enemy ships moved closer. Too close. One blast struck the ship. The entire cabin shook violently. Warning lights flashed red. Kale looked at the pilot. We're going to die. The pilot smiled slightly. No. He pressed one final control. Suddenly, the ship entered a giant traffic tunnel beneath the city. The military ships behind them were too large. One crashed into a wall. Another collided with traffic. Explosions filled the tunnel. Kale stared in shock. Minutes later, silence returned. No ships followed them. No alarms. Nothing. Kale slowly breathed out. We escaped. The pilot looked at him. For now. Kale stared at the old man. For several moments, nobody spoke. Then Kale finally asked, "Who are you?" The pilot remained quiet, very quiet. Then he said, "My name is Rin." Kale looked at him. "You knew they were after me." Rin nodded. "Yes." "You knew I had something." Rin nodded again. "Yes." Kale slowly stood up. "Who are you really?" Rin looked forward silently. Stars stretched outside the windows as the ship entered space. Then finally he spoke. "Years ago, I worked for Galactic Intelligence." Kale's eyes widened. "What?" "I searched for dangerous things." Rin's face became serious. "And one day," he looked directly at Kale, "I found the word Earth." Silence filled the ship. Kale stared at him. "You know about Earth?" Rin slowly nodded. Kale moved closer immediately. "What is it? Why are people afraid of it?" Rin looked away. For the first time since meeting him, the old man looked nervous. Very nervous. Then he spoke quietly. "Because Earth was never supposed to be remembered." Kale felt cold. Rin stood and walked toward a storage cabinet. He opened it. Inside sat old data devices. Very old. Dust covered them. Rin pulled one out, then handed it to Kale. Kale looked confused. "What is this?" Rin looked at him carefully. "The first lie I ever found." Kale slowly activated it. The screen flickered. Ancient star maps appeared. Then one line of text slowly formed. Human origin planet. Earth. Kale's eyes widened. Then another line appeared. Status. Erased. Kale stopped breathing. Then a final line appeared underneath. Survivors unknown. Kale stared at the screen in his hands. Human origin planet. Earth. Status. Erased. Survivors unknown. The words felt heavier than stone. For several seconds he said nothing. The ship remained silent, except for the low sound of engines. Outside the windows, endless stars stretched across space. Kale slowly looked up at Rin. "Survivors," he whispered. Rin sat quietly in his chair. "I asked the same question years ago." Kale looked back at the screen. "But this changes everything." Rin nodded. "Yes." Kale suddenly looked at him. "So Earth was real." "Yes." "Humanity came from Earth." "Yes." Kale stood up. "Then why erase it?" Rin remained silent. Very silent. Too silent. Kale narrowed his eyes. "You know more." Rin looked away. For several moments he said nothing. Then he finally sighed. "I know enough." Kale sat down slowly. Rin looked toward the stars. "Long ago, humans were different." Kale frowned. "Different how?" Rin folded his hands. "They were builders." Kale looked confused. "Builders?" Rin nodded. "They built alliances. They built peace. They connected species." Kale listened carefully. Rin continued. "Back then the galaxy was divided. Empires fought wars constantly. Worlds destroyed each other over territory and power." Kale watched him. "But humans," Rin said quietly, "humans change things." Kale frowned. "How?" Rin looked toward him. "They cared about people who were not their own." Kale blinked. "What?" "They protected weak worlds. They shared technology. They helped strangers." Kale stared. That sounded normal. Did it not? Rin noticed his expression. "You think that sounds ordinary?" Kale nodded slowly. Rin gave a small, sad smile. "It isn't." Silence filled the room. Kale never thought about it before. Helping strangers. Protecting others. Maybe humanity really had been different. Suddenly warning lights flashed. Both men looked up immediately. Warning. Unidentified ships detected. Kale stood. "What now?" Rin moved toward the controls. The scanner screen activated. 5 ships appeared behind them. Black ships. Kale's face immediately changed. "No." Rin looked serious. "They found us." Kale stepped closer. "How?" Rin pressed several controls quickly. "I don't know." The distance between ships became smaller, closer, closer, too close. Then suddenly a voice filled the cabin. Cold, calm. We know you possess restricted historical information. Cale froze. The same voice. The same cold voice from his apartment. Power down your engines. Rin ignored it. The voice returned. This is your final warning. Rin looked at Cale. Go to the back room. Cale stared. What? Now. What are you doing? Rin smiled slightly. Buying time. Cale looked shocked. No. Rin's face became serious. Cale. For the first time his voice sounded hard. Go. Cale slowly moved toward the back section, but before entering, he stopped. Where are we even going? Rin looked forward. The rememberers. Cale froze. The message. The hidden signal. The people who knew the truth. Rin entered coordinates into the ship. Unknown sector. Outer systems. No public routes. No known worlds. Cale quietly walked into back room. Minutes passed. The ship shook several times as blasts struck nearby. Outside came flashes of blue light. Cale sat silently. Then suddenly, his pocket device activated. Cale looked down. Unknown signal. Again. Slowly he opened it. Static appeared. Then a voice spoke. But this time, it was not damaged. It was clear. Very clear. A female voice. If you are hearing this, then you are closer than expected. Cale looked around. Closer to what? The truth survived because some people refuse to forget. Images suddenly appeared. Ancient stars. Hidden locations. Unknown symbols. Then Cale saw one image that made him stop breathing. Earth. But not Earth alone. Around Earth floated thousands of ships. Human ships. Massive fleets. The image disappeared. The voice continued. They erased records. They erased worlds. They erased names. But they failed. Cale whispered. Failed. Then final coordinates appeared. And below them, the rememberers. Signal ended. Cale stared silently. Suddenly, boom! The ship shook violently. Cale nearly fell. Alarm screamed. Rin shouted from the cockpit. Cale! Cale ran forward. Smoke filled the room. Sparks flew from damaged systems. Outside, enemy ships surrounded them. 5 had become 10. 10 had become 20. Cale stared in horror. Where did they come from? Rin looked at scanners. His face changed. No! Cale looked at him. What? Rin slowly pointed ahead. Cale looked forward. Far away in deep space. Something enormous floated in darkness. Not a ship, not a station. Something much bigger. An ancient structure. A giant ring surrounded by dead stars and broken metal. Cale stared. What is that? Rin spoke quietly. That, he looked nervous, is where the rememberers live. Then suddenly every enemy ship stopped moving. Complete silence filled space. Cale frowned. What happened? Then one massive transmission appeared across every screen. You should not have come here. Silence filled the ship. Cale stared at the giant message glowing across every screen. You should not have come here. For a few seconds, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Even the enemy ships behind them stopped. 20 black warships floated in space without firing a single shot. No movement. No attacks. Nothing. Cale slowly looked at Rin. What is happening? Rin stared forward. His face had lost color. I don't know. Cale frowned. You said this place belongs to the rememberers. Rin nodded slowly. It does. Then who sent that message? Rin did not answer, because he did not know. The giant ancient structure floated ahead of them like a sleeping monster. It was enormous, far larger than cities, far larger than planets. Its outer ring stretched through space endlessly. Broken metal and ancient ruins floated around it. Some pieces looked thousands of years old. Others looked untouched by time. Strange symbols glowed across its surface. Cale looked at them carefully. He had seen those symbols before. His eyes widened. No way! Rin looked at him. What? Cale reached into his pocket and pulled out the hidden storage device. He opened one of the Earth files. The same symbols appeared. The exact same symbols. Earth symbols. Human symbols. Rin stared. This place... Kale whispered. Humans built this. Before Rin could answer. Warning. Incoming transmission. The cockpit lights dimmed. The screen flickered. Static filled the air. Then, slowly, a face appeared. An old woman. White hair. Calm eyes. Simple dark clothing. Kale stared. She looked human. Completely human. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then the woman smiled. Welcome. Kale blinked. Rin looked confused. The woman looked directly at Kale. We have been waiting. Kale pointed at himself. Waiting for me? She nodded. For a very long time. Kale looked at Rin. Rin looked just as confused. Then Kale stepped closer. Who are you? The woman remained calm. My name is Elena. Kale frowned. Were you? The woman smiled slightly. A rememberer. Kale's eyes widened. The rememberers were real. After all this time, after running across worlds, after being hunted, they were real. Kale quickly spoke. You know about Earth? Elena looked at him. Yes. Was Earth destroyed? Yes. Kale's shoulders slowly dropped. So it's gone. Elena remained silent. Very silent. Then she said, Earth is gone. Kale looked down. For some reason, sadness hit him unexpectedly. He had never seen Earth, never lived there, never even knew it existed before this. Yet hearing that it was gone hurt him. But then Elena spoke again. Earth is gone. She paused. But humanity is not. Kale slowly looked up. What? The screen suddenly changed. Stars appeared. Then another image. Then another. Kale stared. Ships. Thousands of ships. Huge fleets hidden in deep space. Entire cities built among stars. Human cities. Human ships. Human worlds. Kale's breathing stopped. No. Rin stared in complete shock. No way. Elena looked at them quietly. When Earth fell, not everyone died. Kale stared at the screen. Survivors. Elena nodded. Many escaped. Images continued appearing. Children, families, colonies, entire civilizations hidden beyond explored space. Kale could barely believe it. Humanity had survived. All this time. Hidden. Waiting. Elena continued speaking. The rulers believe history controlled truth. Images changed again. Ancient leaders appeared. Galactic empires. Secret meetings. Dark rooms. They erased records. They erased worlds. They erased names. They thought memory could be destroyed. Kale listened silently. Then Elena looked directly at him. But truth does not disappear. Suddenly warning alarms activated. Enemy fleets moved again. Rin looked outside. Oh no! More ships were arriving. Hundreds. Then thousands. The rulers had come. Massive warships surrounded the entire area. Kale stared. So many. A giant ship moved forward, larger than all the others. Cold metal covered its surface. A transmission opened immediately. A man appeared. Dark uniform. Silver symbol. Cold eyes. He looked directly at Kale. You have caused enough damage. Kale stared silently. The man continued. Give us the Earth files. No answer. History will remain buried. Elena suddenly smiled. Then she pressed something. Kale frowned. What did you do? Elena looked at him. I opened the truth. Across space. The giant structure suddenly came alive. Light exploded across its surface. Ancient systems activated. Massive energy waves spread outward. Kale stared in shock. What is happening? Elena looked calmly at him. The galaxy is about to remember. Suddenly every screen, every ship, every system, every world activated. Millions of broadcasts appeared across the galaxy. People stopped walking. Worlds stopped moving. Leaders stopped speaking. Everyone watched. Images of Earth filled every screen. Its oceans, its mountains, its people, human history, human sacrifices, human wars, human victories, everything they tried to erase, everything returned. Silence spread across the stars. Then Earth's final message appeared. Truth can be buried. Truth can be hidden. But truth always returns. Cale stared out at space. Because at that moment he understood something. Earth had not survived because of ships, not because of weapons, not because of power. Earth survived because someone remembered. And as long as truth remained alive, humanity would never disappear.